Hello and welcome to Multiframe Webinar 3, Video 6 on working with loads. We've seen how we can apply different types of loads, and of course to manage our loads we want to group them together into load cases. Multiframe offers a lot of different load case types, so static load cases and self-weight load cases are pretty self-explanatory. We can create load case combinations, and we can also create envelope load cases. Strictly speaking, they're more for managing results rather than application of loads, but they're still a type of case in the multi-frame context. We've also got some special load types. We can create load cases for wind, water, current and hydrostatic loads, and we can also create load cases for sea motion loads. It's really a special case of acceleration induced inertial loads for the motions of a structure on a vessel. And then finally, time history loads for time varying loads and seismic load cases for ground accelerations. They'll be on the scope of this webinar, but we'll look at those in future webinars where we're looking at dynamic loads. Let's go over to Multiframe and see how we can create and manage our load cases. So suppose we want to apply some loads to our structure. We go to the case menu and you can see the different types of load cases which are available. A self-weight load case is very self-explanatory. In fact, it's just a special case of a general acceleration load case with the acceleration set to gravity in the negative y direction. Notice down the bottom we can choose what self-weight gets applied. So whether or not the self-weight gets applied to members, to plate elements, and if you've used lump joint masses for inertial or dynamic calculations, you can optionally include them as point self-loads. So if we choose that, then if we go, normally the self-weight loads aren't displayed, but we can turn on the display of those loads if we want to in our symbols dialog. And so we can see the loads that get generated from the self-weight command. It's usually easier if we just turn the display of them off. The next type of load we'll look at is our basic static load case. There's nothing unusual about that except for design purposes. We can choose the loading type of the load just for managing the loads, and also the design classification that we can use. And then as we apply loads to that, we can then create factored combinations. So if we choose a static combined load case, we can choose factors times the existing load cases, so to create our required design load combinations for design purposes. Also in this menu you can see the other load case types, the envelope load cases and so forth. In terms of managing the cases, we can reorder the cases in our list. The only limitation is that if you do create envelope or static combined load cases, you do have to have the source load cases earlier in the list than any of the combinations. And finally, in the data window, if we go to the display of load cases in that window, then we can manage our different load cases there in Excel style format to change any of the properties and just review all of the data that we've entered. So that's our initial setup of our load cases. Thank you for watching.